Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's everybody going? Are we winning? Are we enjoying this pretty boring last couple of days? You've kind of got my answer. It's been a bit dull, hasn't it? Last couple of days of price action. This little pullback. Not ideal for balls deep longing rotations. But as is standard for Charlie stream, we will likely get a nice rotation whilst I'm streaming. But yeah, let's just go through it. Let's start off by looking at BTC, looking at those wonderful divergences across the highs, the fact that they played out in terms of like the 4 hour. Like personally, I was actually thinking that we would just continue and that this would be essentially vertical accumulation or whatever bullshit you want to call it. Essentially, I thought we would have a strong move, we would consolidate a bit, everyone would wait for the pullback, and the pullback would just never come. I literally thought we would start ripping and go up only, but that is not the case. We are fucking around up near the highs. For me personally, like, nothing changes in terms of bullish bias, right? Like, I'm still bullish. I still think that we get a decent move at some point. It kind of doesn't matter where you draw the pivot, whether you draw it like here or whether you draw it slightly higher up here. You know, we're still well above whatever anybody can really consider to be like a high time frame pivot in terms of this consolidation, right? If you do VRVP and look at it that way, you know, the kind of mid of it and the point of controls down here. If you start looking at like more recent price action, like it doesn't really matter how you frame it. We're pretty much well above it, right? So there's kind of no argument for me personally to try and start shorting this and to try and fade the trend. If I'm wrong and we move down and we just, you know, crash down to zero, whatever, that's absolutely fine. I would rather kind of be dying bullish than you know, trying to short here and getting potentially chopped out. Like, there's no signal, especially after this has played out, right, from a 4 hour perspective. There's nothing for me to like actively trade here on the short side. Like, even if this was you know, a lower time frame chart, like I wouldn't want to be shorting this, right? It's just not particularly attractive to me, particularly like all this indecision in here. And by indecision, I mean like it's really wicky in terms of the price action, right? It's just, in my opinion, designed to chop people up at the moment. And not necessarily designed, right? I don't think there's like an evil market maker sat there trying to do whatever with things. My mind doesn't operate in that way. I don't think there's a big scary ghost that people call a market maker that's trying to chop people up. I just think it's like natural indecision at what is, you know, a point where people are getting very horny at the thought of a break of all-time high and a move much higher, you know, get that magic 100k mark, which if you talked to me 7 years ago, I would have said, oh my god, that's ridiculous. And then kind of through 2017, I thought that's absolutely possible, particularly when it got to like 19k, and I was like, this is clearly going to 100k. And it didn't. 19k, for those of you who were there, was the literal pico top, and then it slammed back down to 3. But yeah, I'm not worried from a higher time frame sort of bias, you know. I can see the kind of decline in momentum. I think maybe we get a bit more chop, as people are saying in the chat, you know, chop until election, all that kind of stuff. Chop low time frame. The trenches have been exhausting. I put $10,000 in a Sol wallet, and I thought, right, I'll jump back in the trenches. That wallet is now at 0. It's just like, right, I'll jump in with a couple of my mates, just aping random shit. Absolute gone. You know, my problem was I was playing like literally 5 to 10k market cap coins, and they would tend to do this, and I would just go, right, I'll take like a tiny bit of profit, if any, and then it just rugs and goes to fucking 0. But that's my experience of the trenches over the last week, and again, it's you know, is what it is. Sometimes you got to gamble. I aped all sorts of shit. I had a couple of successes, to be fair, but I prefer coins that have been out for a little, like, a small amount of time and have, like, constructed some form of base, because then you can go, well, You know, if it goes to 0, fine, but at least it's been traded for a viable period, / if there's a decent narrative behind it. But I was just aping all this AI bullshit. But, you know, stick me back on perps where I can, dominate. That's far better. 10k market cap, we're in the front lines. To be fair, I don't think I actually went to anything as low as 10k. I think it was like all in the 6-figure region though, like 100 to, you know, 900k kind of market caps, maybe a couple of mil, but they are small, liquid pieces of shit. A lot of them went like this, like I said, and then just kind of did this and slowly went to like next to nothing. And obviously it's not nothing, there is something there. It's probably like, I don't know, $1,000 worth or some shit, but basically nothing. Whereas, you know, on perps, it's quite a different story. Even in these conditions, I mean, today was a bit shite for me because I looked at PopCat. You can see what I drew. You can see my thought process on this one, and you can see that like down here. So down here this morning, we actually had a bit of relative strength on PopCat. But I couldn't be asked to trade it with the fact that like nothing else was really moving, and for me, like the market conditions when they're on days like today, right? Like if I just zoom out and I look at Spaghetti and I go, right, like look at that kind of risk appetite of the market, even if I zoom out and I focus it back on like a low time frame pivot in terms of like this low, like there's not really much outperforming BTC. It's kind of, there's like no real beta left. You know, the moves at the moment, like big time ran okay, but that's like a liquid garbage, and I imagine a lot of people trying to short it and just getting their asses fucked. So like I'm just not that interested. Like I think half of the time is knowing when to play. And I was thinking about this earlier actually. I was thinking about how I went from like, I don't know, probably 7 years ago, and I thought, right, well, what's a good trader? And in my opinion, like my opinion then was a good trader can find a trade anywhere. Like they'll sit there every day and they'll find something and they'll trade it and they'll make it a success. And I guess the more I've been in the market, the more, you know, I realized, like, I suppose quite quickly that view was bullshit. But actually, for me, a real trader is one that actually sits back and goes, I have literally 0 edge in this condition. I'm going to sit out until I see something that I do like and that I can act on. And having the patience and control to be able to do that is in itself an edge over a lot of participants who just have to be exposed to something at all points in time. I mean, I'm happy to like ape some spot, right? I aped some spot BTC, I don't know, wherever it was, like up here on Saturday or something. I think it was in, yeah, this consolidation. You know, so I'm underwater on it now, but I don't care. Like, if in 5 weeks I'm still massively underwater, then yeah, whatever. Not too bothered. But you know, it's kind of different time frames, and I was just doing it to meme really. But you know, I genuinely thought we'd get that expansion after Sunday, you know, beyond 69, and clear 70, and just start that run for all-time highs. But I guess everyone has that same kind of image that, you know, the next trade is literally this. It's the breakout, and it's, you know, going straight to 100k, right? Whereas we are getting chopped up. PopCat to $5. And that's familiar, is it, Bigler? Yeah. I think a lot of people have had that experience. I mean, for me, the next trading opportunities like lie around those pivots that I marked out earlier and have now deleted. You know, if we get a move back down here, or vice versa, if we get like an all-time high breakout and a failed breakout up here, you know, I would be tempted to short there. You know, especially if we break market structure and we do this, and we have that run up and then that low high, and then actually that's kind of it. No, I don't really expect this to happen in terms of it actually coming down and going back to like 30k or something ridiculous. But that's the only time that I'd be like tempted to short. Like for me, the far more EV play is if we get a pullback, like a sharp pullback down to here, then take a fresh long and jump on in. Your invalidation essentially being down here somewhere. Even make it wider and do it down here and just, you know, lower your position size. So it's the same risk. Because for me, like this huge pivot here is pretty key. And if you get that show of strength here, like that demand. So what I mean by that is instead of a sell-off that kind of slowly does this and then slowly runs it back up, you know, we sell off, probably quite a strong sell-off. Everyone gets turbo short and horny at the lows. and then we literally just fucking wipe them out and just start showing that strength. So in a quick period of time, we recover the dip, i.e. a V reversal, as it's also known. And, you know, that for me would just say, right, participants are piling in. The chances of this being, you know, just a continuation low are quite high. I've got a nice invalidation from a high time frame perspective. You know, let's go. That for me is like the next trade, and it's fine to target the highs, I think, and target beyond, because I do think when this breaks, I say when, if it breaks, that it's gonna go quite far and quite hard. You know, the scenario of literally taking former highs over here and then pulling back, I think, is quite unlikely. But yeah, that's my view. In terms of ETH, then, ETH has been the perpetual disappointment that it always is, right? And you know, people like talking about Solana. Like, I think for me, the Sol ETH chart is probably the one that deserves the kind of man of the match for, or day of the match, or whatever we call them these days, for like this cycle in terms of, you know, layer ones, and you know, you look at it and it's just like parabolic up only, right? Breached all-time high, consolidated a little bit, and is now running. I wouldn't be surprised to see Sol, you know, being the major kind of blue chip that runs in the next leg of the market, assuming that we have it, right? And even this looks pretty good from a weekly perspective, right? We've broken out of this. We are consolidating now, but yeah, it's just strong, really strong. And those of you who are paying attention at the start of the stream probably know what my kind of next big trade is, which is Popcat. So I'm looking at Popcat, like particularly around like here. Obviously we had the rotation today, which was a really nice entry and really clean rotation because it was one of the only things that was actually moving. PPC Charlie. Does that mean British Broadcasting Centre, or is that something else? Either way, I don't know why you're checking out my my grinder profile. But yeah, like, I just think Bobcat looks great for continuation, and I think it's certainly one of the better looking memes, particularly if you start looking at structure of, you know, other memes. Like, I like Pepe from, you know, a high time frame pivot perspective, but you can't really compare that strength here, or lack of, versus like this, you know, actually running up, breaking this consolidation and starting potentially the next leg. You know, I think Bobcat is kind of the major one to watch. Would I short Sui here? Let's have a peep. So we were talking about rotations on Sui here. I mean, you've kind of got most of my thought process sort of laid out in front of you. Like, I personally don't like shorting what is the like local low. You know, this would be like let's invert it, right? So let's look at it from another perspective, because, you know, for me, it's almost easier psychologically to long, and you go, right, well, we've broken this downtrend, we've got this. Actually, I'm just going to invert these as well, but I'm probably going to end up regretting that, because I'll forget halfway through the stream, and I'll be like, oh look, here's a divergence. Yeah. Anyway, I don't necessarily like just like trying to join a trending move without some form of consolidation or some form of divergence or something like that. You know, a sell-off and a change in structure, not a change in structure, but a continuation of market structure with divergences to kind of say, yeah, this is potentially the bottom, and give me a signal to enter. Like here, let's see how I've drawn that line. Obviously that's, it's a bit janky in terms of this. I don't necessarily want to just long here blindly, particularly when I imagine there's no, you know, relative weakness from Sui, because we're obviously inverted looking at shorting. So like, would I long this? No, which obviously you're saying let's jump in a short. Like, for me, if I wanted to jump into this, I would have to see like something like this, like just a failed breakout of this consolidation. But, you know, you've had a pretty strong sell-off. Yeah, 13-14% sell-off, right, from the highs. Yeah, you're never going to catch that and all that. But, you know, or at least I wouldn't, because that's not my trading style, as I've said. have a peep. Just delete all this brushwork and let me just re-invert these so that they are normal before I go and start chatting about them, as if they are, you know, normal. Yeah, so I don't like shorting stuff like this. It's had a strong move in the direction. I'm not convinced that the market overall is, you know, in a particularly terrible place. There will come a time, no doubt, where shorts are just rewarded consistently. I personally don't think that's the time, but you know, I can be wrong, obviously. I also think that, like, we haven't really had that strong sell-off yet, and for me, like, I won't try and be the hero that says this is where momentum is going to die, right? From a daily perspective, we're retesting the 50, yeah, that's fine. Like, Sui has had a nice run up, right? Really nice. It was one of the leaders of this rotation from back down here. It did really, really well. It managed to maintain its relative strength for a long, long, long period, like up to here, and it's now lost it, right? But that's kind of to be expected. Maybe get a consolidation, develop a range, play a breakout up here, really nice and easy, or play a fake out if you really want to go short. Like, I don't want to short this low because there's no signal there for me. Momentum has reset, yep, absolutely, but it's not even breached the 50 on the RSI, so it's not like it's you know, quote unquote bears are in control. And even from like a lower time frame perspective, you're starting to see it kind of recover. So no, I wouldn't be shorting down here, but you know, feel free to do whatever the hell you like, my brother. Mr. Earlier, if you answered it, have you seen Fwog? Yes, I have, and I have to then say it. I have not got a bag of that, no. I did not ape, despite being told by many people who I respect that it's a good meme. I actually thought it's a fucking terrible meme, and yeah, it just makes me think that you know, I'm so out of touch with the fucking retarded side of this space these days that yeah, it's just beyond. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not in touch with the trenches, as my experience the other day kind of showed. I will still continue to hate memes or memes that I like, but like, I'm probably a boomer in terms of like crypto now. You know, I've been in here, I've been in this space probably for longer than like 80% of participants, probably, because most of the kind of OGs from 2013 are probably fucked off by now. But yeah, short-term 61k imminent. I mean, I don't really have a strong bias in terms of, like, if you're asking me where this consolidation breaks, you know, this consolidation to me is absolutely like horrible price action, just in terms of like it's just chopping. Even if you look at like this range, it's like bosh, bosh, bosh. You know, it's just not very clean. It's just kind of chopping everyone up. 2017, yeah, mate, I've been here since 2017. I mean, Charlie didn't exist until 2018, I don't think. But I was a voyeur on crypto Twitter in 2017 with my real Twitter, with my real, you know, personal name. I followed a few people like Mocho, who just dumped his bags on me, basically. You know, you learn that the first cycle. But yeah, feels like it was yesterday. And there's kind of a beautiful thing of naivety, I suppose, which is, you know, you build this massive conviction up that everything is the future of finance and all that kind of stuff, and like, you know, all I see is another fucking rug and another fucking dogshit project. Like, my faith in the space is like genuinely going to zero quite quickly, because the amount of new scams that are launching every single fucking day is just beyond belief, right? But stick a perp on it and I'll just trade the fuck out of it. But there are some good, genuinely good projects out there as well. And good memes, right? Genuinely good memes. So it's this like juxtaposition of, well, there's good stuff out there. I genuinely think Bitcoin is, you know, an incredible kind of technological achievement in terms of like what it does for global finances potentially. But you know, there's a lot of people pillaging value out of the system. About out of touch with memes. This AI meme meter this weekend. Yeah, I really did. Um, I was completely out of touch. I bought some like what was it? WOTF, Way of the Fallen or something, and that just like went to zero basically. There's loads of stuff like I just don't get it. It's just I mean I like the idea that I like the idea, right? But everyone went on chain to get away from like the VC scams that just dump on people's heads with influencers and whoever getting like lower prices from the private sales, right? But it's actually just gone even worse to fucking meme coins where people snipe and bundle the supply, run it up to 50 million, and then dump the tokens on people's heads like at a massive premium. Like it's just mad. I don't even understand how most of that stuff works, to be honest. But you get memes that just launch and they just go whoop. Well, it's just fuck on Fartcoin. Yeah, this is what I mean, man. It's really fucking depressing talking about shit like this because it's like Satoshi's vision of, you know, peer-to-peer digital electronic cash, you know, fight the man, you know, be the cyberpunk and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, that was a really cool place to be in, right? And now we're talking about devs launching shit like Fartcoin and, oh, great, man, I hope Fartcoin rips. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. It just makes me embarrassed to be part of this whole like industry, to be honest. Which is why I'm genuinely glad I'm not like doxxed and I don't go to these Virgin events with all these people talking about these fucking coins. Like they're just assets. I'll just trade them, or their liabilities, I guess. I'll just trade them, and that's why that's why I'm not too long for this space. I don't think. Did you hear about CoffeeZilla and Andrew Tate? No, I didn't. I presume Andrew Tate just went to another level of grifting and shitting on Ansem and calling him the M word, which is a wild place to be because obviously, like, you know, Ansem was a big part of CT way back when, always has been. You know, smart guy. You know, for whatever you think of him, he's made a lot of money. He's done well out of the space. He's now like, you know, a kind of C-list celebrity globally, I imagine, in terms of like who he's affiliated with and all that kind of stuff. So fair play, but it's mental that you know, one of the most famous people in the world, like Andrew Tate, is calling him out on CT just for a bit of engagement. Like it's disgusting what he's saying, but it's a wild place to be. You're saying anonymous if you're into crypto these days, yeah. This isn't the same industry I joined years ago, Doc. Yeah, it's just not. Like, it's just, you know, I think people, I don't know, I'm just getting on my soapbox now, which isn't like educational, you know, or market commentary type content, but it's just like, you know, I'll ape some money into some low cap fucking memes, tweet about it. Some of them 10x, some of them go to fucking zero, right? Don't care. Like, I personally don't give a shit about the money that I put in them, yeah? I'm not betting the mortgage. I'm not betting, you know, anything like that. You know, I'm not like in a position where if crypto went to zero tomorrow, I'd be fucked. Like, I'd be absolutely fine. If crypto went to zero and my banks all blew up and, you know, my house got demolished or something, then I'd be fucked. But yeah. 100% agree with you. Most of my friends are Bitcoin only, and telling them of what the current meta on CT is would get an embarrassment at barbecues and get-togethers. Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, for me, like, it's just not the same space. It's everyone just trying to get massively rich, which I completely get, right? Like, the kind of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is like a social you know, how you feel good. It's like I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like physical safety. It's like food, water, and then self-actualization at the top, which is, you know, you're aware of everything and you're kind of like enlightenment. But in this somewhere is like money, and you know, money is kind of modern freedom and security. And actually, if you start really thinking about it, it's probably down here. Like it's probably the foundation of most of these things, kind of this day and age, because Money buys you food, it buys you shelter, it buys you everything else, it buys you the time to be able to be free, to do the things you love to do, to then be able to be sort of self-actualized and reach the pinnacle of, you know, human form. So I kind of get it, but yeah, like a lot of the time when people come into chat and say, "Oh, you know, what do you think of this?" I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" Like, I'm sat on this computer like for fucking 60, 70, 80 hours a week some weeks, and I don't know what the fuck you're on about. Thoughts on SP500? I haven't actually looked at that for a while, but I did buy some. Do you mean the meme coin first? Like, what was it, SPX 6900 or whatever? This. I mean, this is my favourite shorting pattern, just FYI. Big parabolic run up, lower high, short here. As it starts, basically going down the other side. Invalidation 1, invalidation 2. And target fucking 0. But yeah, I actually aped something. That's kind of a beta of this. I don't think it'll take much guessing. But yeah, there's a similar chart to this, which, I don't know if I'm allowed to shill or whatever. Because everyone's a fucking crybaby these days, but it looks like this. Or it looked like that. It now looks like that. No, Boomer Index. You just see, like, you like the way that I fucking assumed. It's Nasdaq 420. It actually is. It's NDX 6900. I love that you either knew that. I don't know how you know that. You're either stalking my wallets or you guessed it. Yeah. It's this. I can't even type the fucking number because I'm laughing. It's actually like that. Fucking nailed it. But yeah, obviously it's up a bit. So, but it's like, again, 100% risk, right? It can go to 0, it can rug. I don't think I think it's actually fine from an audit perspective and all that. But yeah, these can just, you know, die off or whatever. This meter might die and blah blah blah. But yeah, that is genuinely what it is. So good guess. But yeah, it's you know, completely low cap gamble, not financial advice, educational purposes only, all that kind of stuff, which I should have said at the start of the stream. In terms of SPX, like actual, not the fucking meme coin, which is hilarious that I just assumed it. I mean, it's just up and to the right? There's not really much more to say. Like in terms of like divergences, in terms of momentum, in terms of strength, like I don't want to be the cunt that's trying to fade this. Like it's just the same story, right? We're starting to see a little bit of a shift in terms of like that relative strength, but it's just a pullback. Like, you know, it's, if you look at it like from just like a simple like angular lines perspective, which is how I try and reference things back to, you know, momentum and strength, and you can obviously do it like here more objectively, right? Like this move clearly much stronger than like this move, yeah, because we're getting much higher on the awesome oscillator. Let's zoom into awesome oscillator. Like you can just see from the peaks that this was a stronger move. You know, then it was this move, and now we're just creating you know, lower highs consistently. We flip bearish, like, but we're starting to turn back. So it's just like reaffirming that kind of chop. Any view on weekly div? Like, I mean, I would potentially play an awesome oscillator weekly div on SPX if I really wanted to front run and be the hero, right? Or I was massively exposed and we actually started selling off here. But that's going to take 2 weeks for it to confirm. So two crosses essentially. So, you know, two, whatever color that is, pink or purple-ish. prints, and for it to do that, it's gonna have to pull back a bit. So you're gonna end up basically looking for something. Where's my fucking doodle? Something a little bit like that, and then your stops up here, and you're just trying to time it. But I don't really see the point in trying to time it like that. I would much rather try and jump in. Try and jump in on like a break of this. Like I tend to play breakout trades more than anything, to be honest, in this kind of condition. Lockheed Martin Inu. Yeah, it's probably a thing, isn't it? Like, there's probably lots of things that like that. The reason I trade crypto is to be a rich boomer like King Charlie and live in a big castle like he does. For fuck's sake, why does the market hate me so much? You must be so lucky. I can assure you I don't live in a castle. They are an absolute nightmare. You held Lockheed Martin in for a year? Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, I'm so out of touch with the trenches. And it's because, like, you always hear these stories of, like, someone turning, I don't know, $1,000 into, like, $500,000 or something. You think, that's pretty decent, low risk reward. I'll just have a pop at that. And then you jump in and I realise that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And it's basically like the equivalent of giving a baby a gun and going, have a go at that. And then hoping for the best, hoping he doesn't shoot you or shoot himself or whatever. The same reason I say to people, like, they're like, oh, I could be a perp trader. I'm like, yeah, go on then. Like, how many people have tried perp trading and then went, oh wow, look, this is good. Look at my account. Like, fucking gone. Game over. Lights out. Like, it's just, it's one of the most difficult things in the world for a fucking reason. And, yeah, like, jumping into the Solana shit chain where you just get ass fucked by, devs who just sell their entire stack instantly, or run things up and then just do that to it. Well, it's the game, it's PvP, but it's also a financial crime. So reasonably sized mansion. Thoughts about Vanry? So Vanry's actually looking quite good. I tweeted it the other day, and everyone was just like guessing and guessing wrong. But some people got it. Where is it? Just because I haven't got enough charts of it. So it did have a nice little bounce out, but yeah, now it's not really doing much. But I was thinking it was looking quite good here in terms of this bounce out. But I like this setup in terms of the kind of diagonal. And like, if there's a reclaim, then that's great. Like, the reclaim is, to be honest, that's the kind of it's go time. And then you would hope that you'd run like at least these highs, if not these, and if not, like, keep going, right? Woo was the one that I think we went over last stream, which was actually pretty good in terms of like these lows. And if you are bullish in terms of the entire sort of crypto sphere, and we had a day the other day actually where all the dexes started running, and woo popped. If you are, pretty bullish on decentralized exchanges, then good bag. Thoughts on Tau? Oh, that's good. You did say that. I'm not really interested in Tau because I kind of missed the whole Tau thing. But I hold some Tau beta in the form of a coin, which I don't know anything about. My friend just told me to ape it, so I did. But this doesn't look particularly great, does it? Strong move up, consolidation / distribution. Failure to really show any strength, like momentum just completely resetting. Like, it's kind of at a, I don't like to say it, but it's like a do or die type stage where it just looks weak. It's not particularly attractive for me in terms of, like, you compare this to Popcat, right? Oh, which would I rather, long Tau or Popcat? Like, Popcat. Like, no fucking second thought about it. My RSI is just that Paragon one. It's quite simple though, it's just divs. Just makes things easy for the blind homies. That's how I know. Is there a chance to see Bitcoin break an all-time high? Find a place to consolidate, memes running, and ETH/BTC is still struggling to find its lows? Yeah, 100%, mate. Like I've said this for a long time. What I should have done is I should have probably coined it and given it some sort of ridiculous name and just spammed it every day until people are like, oh my god, Charlie's that meme guy. But anyway, you know, I've kind of drawn the market like this, and I've said it's kind of like for the retarded and the kind of I can't remember what I said, but I did actually have a decent name for it. Like there's kind of no room for mid-curvers, right? There's the refined and the retarded, and like they're the people that are gonna make it, not the people in the middle like trying to find utility. There'll be some good utility plays, don't get me wrong, but it's like left curve, right curve, or left side, right side of the curve are the ones that are gonna make it. Ah, that's it. TradFi over here, like you long your ETHs or your Sol rather, you long Sol and BTC, and your TradFi, which is like you operate at this extreme, and you're long in memes, you're in the trenches, you're just trying to buy all the dog shit basically. And it's those people, you know, the IQ curve looks like this. The people who make it curve looks like this, right? And there's going to be more people in this section, I think, as a proportion of the IQ curve, purely because there's more like exponential opportunity down here, and to make it over on this side, you know, in this bit here, you kind of have to have a pretty decent amount of capital to start with, right? Because you pull off a 2, 3, 4x on Bitcoin. If you started with $1,000, like, well, I don't know where you're from, but you know, in the UK, that's gonna make fuck all difference to your life. Like, get you a nice holiday, maybe post-tax, but that's it. It's not gonna be anything dramatic. Whereas you do 5k into 5 million, that's a pretty, you know, fundamental change to the way you live. So, yeah, I think that whole way of looking at the market is still right. I think to your point around Bitcoin breaking all-time high, I think what happens if / when we do it, we get that Bitcoin dominance, like final kind of blow off top, and you know, other coins just can't kind of keep up, and we get that acceleration, and it goes up to something ridiculously high, and then when that pulls back and goes, and altcoins run with it, and by it goes, I mean I actually think Bitcoin does what you said and consolidates at some point. Likely does, you know, a little bit of this, and then pulls back, consolidates for a bit for the next potential next leg up, and in that, memes will go absolutely mental. And ETH/BTC, I mean, has not shown any strength. I don't know, like, if I really want to be massively long ETH, but you've seen, like, you know, I've talked about it quite a few times in terms of, like, I want to see some reclaims, I want to see some strength, I want to see some reason to, you know, get me in this. Like, it's just so, for me, it's so retarded, like, to be like, so many people are like, I'm gonna short this. It's like, why are you shorting it? It's literally just going up and to the right. Like, there's no, it's not even like, you know, doing it in a reasonable sense. The market consensus is just telling you, like, in literally a straight line, that it's going up and to the right. So I would never short this, and the same reason that I just don't want to be long in this, right? It's just absolute garbage. It's down only garbage. And there's better opportunities. In my opinion, not financial advice, blah, blah, blah. I was looking to see if there's some, like, bullshit channel tool. Fucking look at that rainbow. What the fuck is this? Jesus Christ. I don't understand what I'm doing, but you know, looks like a gay disco. But the point being that I was just trying to like draw a channel that it's like literally just, you know, down only. Why would I want to long this when I can long literally anything else? You know, even like Sol BTC. Sol BTC is not going down and to the right. It is going sideways, which is better. Yes, Thomas. Yeah, there's a lot of weakness across like layer ones and stuff, and a lot of things don't look particularly great. Like STX, for example, I've always said I wanted to take a long like here as opposed to here. This was just an illustrative trade talking about entry points. Like for me, Pepe could be really, really good, i.e. holding above this line here and keeping in line with the just simple diagonal that we've got that says it's in an uptrend. Previously buying all of these higher lows has paid off. So this, any tag of the trend line has been consistently good to buy. But we're now at a position where this move was much worse than this move, and actually market as a whole doesn't look as particularly great, given that we've seen a lot of risk off in terms of altcoins. Do I want to buy this for this time? Maybe not. What I might wait for is something like this, some form of relative strength on a long time frame rotation. So give me a long, let's delete everything else and let's focus on like this. Give me a little bit of a bounce off this low and reclaim this, and then I'll get on for the next leg. Up down Kai, yeah, of course, man. Kai struggled to break out, I think, which is a bit depressing because it's it ran like I was tweeted about it down here, right? And the thing that pisses me off with low caps is people are like, oh, you're shilling it here, or you're shilling it here, or whatever. It's like, no, I'm claiming clout here. It's not saying fucking buy it up here. It's saying, look, it ran like 80% from the low, and it ran like, I don't know, fucking 3x or whatever from down here. But I mean, yeah, it doesn't look great in terms of like a complete lack of strength. Similar kind of argument with Pepe, really, where you've got this strong move here, and then you've got a lower high here. So you are looking at like a really nice move, and then that kind of weakening downtrending market structure. But in terms of like places to buy, like packing half a bag here and half a bag here with an average then of there and a stop under there, it's very wide in terms of an actual setup, and what your average would look like is something like this. Again, not financial advice, blah blah blah, but it's ran pretty hard before, and I still have a pretty sizable bag of this, so it's a what, $20 million market cap meme, something like that, cat meme. But yeah, I mean, I still think it runs at some point, especially like if we're looking at stuff like PopCap being really in play in terms of like what the current meta is, right? What X returns on your crypto port are you expecting to do over the next year? Just wondering what your realistic, sensible expectations are. See, that's the total wrong way to look at it, in my opinion, right? Because if we go to war with Russia and I don't get my 10x return on my crypto portfolio that I've budgeted for, does that make me a fucking retarded trader? No, it doesn't. The way that I personally think you should be evaluating your gains isn't with any expectation of what the market is going to give you, right? Obviously, you have to be sensible in terms of what you can afford to do and stuff. And let's say you need £100,000 a year to live off. Actually, that's probably a bit much, isn't it? I don't know. £50,000 a year to live off. Yeah, let's say you need that, and you've got £200,000, £100,000 that you're going to trade with, and £100,000 in the bank. So you've got 2 years worth of living expenses sat in the bank, and you're going, right, well, I need to kind of outperform that 50k every single year, so I need a 50% minimum return on my capital. Ideally, I want more because post-tax. So actually, I kind of need 100% return every single year, which is absolutely ludicrous in my mind because it's very, very difficult to get that consistently and in conditions that can be downtrending. At least with the way that I trade, like I can do well in downtrends. Like you saw me 2x an account in a fucking downtrend where it's quote unquote untradeable. But in terms of like my returns during this period versus my returns during this period, they're completely different ball games. Like completely different. I would have probably outperformed this period in this period, right? Whatever that works out to be in terms of return percentage per day. So my point to you is that you can't really budget for that. And the way that I evaluate my own performance is I say, okay, during this period, Bitcoin has gone up by 368%. Did I outperform that? Or did I at least come somewhere close to that? So, if I 3x'd, took 300% out of the market, I'm pretty goddamn happy. I've kind of really maximized the opportunity. Yeah, I might have done it a different way. I might have done it on altcoins. I might have done it through low caps. I might have done it however the fuck I did it. But I've outperformed just holding BTC, and that's kind of the point, right? And the other way to look at it is through the totals. So to look at, if you want a bit more objective, like my goal is for my altcoin bags and my altcoin trading to outperform this, right? Or at least at a fucking minimum keep up with it. Have I more than 2.5x'd my altcoin and alt trading portfolio in the last year and a half? Since the start of December 22, well, nearly 2 years now, I suppose. If that's the question, that for me is how you have to evaluate it. Not, I'm going to be unhappy if I get a 2x return. Because if the market continues to be like this, right, and continues to just sit inside this kind of range, I'm just going to ignore this down here because it doesn't really fit my bias, and we kind of chop like this, and over the period of the next year, 2 years, whatever, we flitter around this, and we go, well, really, it's been sat in a 25% range, let's call it. If I've managed to get out 10-20% of that in terms of total portfolio growth, I'd be pretty happy with that, right? But the market hasn't given me the opportunity, in terms of massive run up. It hasn't given me this. It hasn't given me 150% potential for just holding whatever dog shit I was holding. So yeah, I always try and frame my performance in the context of the market that I was trading. I hope that answered your question. Hello everyone. Is there any chance to check on Vanry and Nero? Hello Alexandros. We have done Vanry, sir, but I will take a peep at Nero. And which Nero do you mean? Do you mean Nero CTO or Nero? Which one is it? Because I lose track of all the Neros. You might have to help me with which one's which. Because that one's now Nero CTO, Nero. I mean, this just looks like trend acceleration down in terms of what I would say here is if we get a parabolic move down, then you're looking for essentially that literal lower high to get long, right? It's the same version of the short setup, but just the other way around. Do you talk to Trader SC? Yeah, I talk to Trader SC. He's an absolute legend. I interviewed him in the Paragon 2, maybe 3 years ago, basically when we started the Paragon. He's helped me out loads. He's an absolute ledge. He's had me on his stream actually. So him and XO massively helped me sort of grow my audience way back when, and have did me shout outs and stuff like that, and just yeah. I owe them both a lot. They're ledgers. In reality, a tiny percentage of the population knows about crypto and its use. In your opinion, what will be the catalyst of masses joining the crypto space? I don't know, and I don't really see it like that. Everyone knows, and maybe it's just a virtue of the fact that I do it, and I've bored people with it over the past 7 or 8 years. But a lot of people know what Bitcoin is, right? I don't think if you say to people, "Oh, what's a Bitcoin?" they go, "Oh, what?" Everyone's heard of it. Everyone knows. I just think that there'll be the natural attrition of people's finances going to a kind of augmented app where everything's kind of interlinked in terms of your payroll, there should, in my opinion, be a kind of system. This is like going well beyond the scope of the question, but there should be like a system where you can see just everyone's like net worth basically, but then you'd argue that that drives crime and all this kind of stuff. And I to me, I always envisioned this kind of dystopian future where it's visible, you know, that you are worth £100 million and you are worth £10 million or 5 million or £1 or minus £5,000 or whatever, and it's all quite transparent. But I don't think it's ever going to get like that, and I don't really see the big use case for crypto, if I'm honest. Most things have a token because the fucking teams want to make money, and because crypto valuations are about 10 to 100x what they would be if you just build that company without a fucking token, right? Because the speculative premium on crypto is just fucking wild. If I took like 90% of these projects and launched them in real life without a token and went to Dragon's Den, Shark Tank, whoever, and said, can I have, you know, £500,000 to invest in me bringing this project, whichever one it is, not picking on any specific ones, to the next level, they'd say, how the fuck have you got it to a $200 million valuation, you absolute clown? So, yeah. Soaring your spaghetti each other ideas for top. What's your opinions on the price action? I've not really been I don't trade everything on here. I use this more as a gauge for what's kind of hot, and like you look at like memes generally, like it's been memes for a long time, right? Like memes have been like turbo beta, but it's more to see if there's something popping out. Like Metis, pretty strong. Like RSRs, I used to love RSR. I had a metric fuck ton of it on Huobi years and years ago, but it's just kind of to see what's going on. Look at ENS. Wow, that's a ticker I haven't seen in fucking ages, but yeah, of course. I mean, ENS is kind of reliant on the entire, like, what's it called? ETH meter, you know, gaining some strength. I mean, it would be a really good play if ETH BTC was looking strong, and I'd be looking to basically long into a breakout play, like around here. But you can even just see it from this, right? First run, second run, like third run, like weak limp dick motherfucker, like lower highs consistently. Lower momentum, just does not look particularly great. You know, maybe that's a short that I'd join at the lows and do something for like a continuation play down, but like the RR is just so poor on it with Bitcoin where it's at and the general market consensus. Like for me, I'd play a breakout trade if it started grinding up a bit and ETH was looking strong, right? I'd long some in here and invalidation under there and hope for a decent run, but at the moment, it's just weak as shit. I don't like longing weak coins. As simple as that. He blocked me for calling Muro a scammer. I mean, SZ takes no shit, right? He's been in the space a fucking long time, and to be honest, if you've got 600,000 people fucking coming at you every day, and like he's one of the few people that shares live trades still. Like the guy's worth, I don't know, fucking a lot, right? Somewhere between 8 and 9 figures, I imagine, like comfortably, like absolutely comfortably. And like he shared what Nero and stuff for like 100x, like 2 mil or 1 mil or something. Oh, it's like 500x, wasn't it? So it was like 1 mil to 500 mil. Like most people just take their money and fuck off into the sunset instead of going like, you know, this is what I'm gonna do. And I don't know, I've blocked a lot of people for a lot less, to be honest. You know, like sharing setups like this every day, and I don't know how he stays like that motivated all the time. I barely share any public setups anymore because when they don't work out, people come fucking crying. I put my entire leverage, like I put my house on this, mate. You were wrong. You were the fucking idiot that took it, mate, and put your entire net worth on it. Like, just sharing my ideas. It gets fucking tiresome, I'll tell you that after a while. But yeah. I wouldn't, you know, kind of gotta filter people out somehow. And there's always some drama on CT, right? Oh, this person's a scammer, this person's this person's that, like... Am I mates with Cold-Blooded Chiller? I mean, I chat to him probably once a year. I used to be quite good friends with him. Like me, Magus, him, UB, and a chap called Mitch used to play computer games together for a while, but they kind of play on like US hours, and I go to bed like super early. But he's a nice guy. But yeah, we're not like I don't really chat to him anymore. Like I said, it's probably the odd message every 3 to 6 months, I guess. When do you decide to add a new high market cap meme to your spaghetti? I mean, it's based off a combination of things. Like Bohm would be an example. You know, when I saw Bohm before and I sort of saw it starting to run. Oh, that interesting rotation on metal. Um, I just added it then because I saw it off Twitter. To be blunt, there's no kind of real huge strategy that says, if it's this, if it's this. It's like just being generally aware, spending a lot of time on social media, in Discord, like in the Paragon group, there'll be people that share things that I'm not aware of that I'll then just go, okay, that's cool, yeah, like you guys are saying, can you chart this? I might go, oh, what's this? Let's find something that may have happened like that, like metal. Like, okay, we've got metal on spaghetti randomly, and it's absolutely ripping. Like, to be honest, this is something that I would join, and ape if I wasn't, yeah, because like look at it, it's like absolute savage. Like just comes out at, but more importantly, it's like at a pico low of a shitcoin that's like ripped down. So last week when I did the Paragon stream live on a Thursday night, we got Moodang or whatever it's called, the shitcoin. Where is it? Oh, it's up here somewhere. When I was talking through this kind of squeeze logic, and where is it? Oh, I literally walked past it. Walked? I literally longed it here, like, and it just ran. And I was talking through it all. You've got all these like squiggles on there. Yeah, it went for like 40-50%. It was nuts, like absolutely nuts. Best performer, blah blah blah. But it's because it was like down only and then started showing relative strength. You can kind of see the thought process and the setup, like here basically. Oh my god, I've got the gay pride thing again. Maybe, literally downtrending channel, like similarly that we talked about for ETH-BTC, start seeing a break, we'd probably see that acceleration up and an absolute rip because, it's just been faded for so long that people just instantly want to fade it and then it just absolutely rips. So yeah, hopefully that's it. 99%. You can start. What's your net worth? Minus $4.5 million. So can I have a refund, please, HMRC? Thank you. Pendle, please, ETH player. I know Pendle. Let's have a peep. That's actually quite reasonable in terms of pretty strong move, isn't it? Pretty strong. In an uptrend. It's actually surprised me. So this is where like people say like, oh, how'd you get altcoins? Like, you guys have just given me one. Like, that's pretty fucking decent in terms of structure, in terms of it's quietly gone from 1.8 to 5 over the last couple of months. Hard to get on board, but yeah, that's surprised me. It's quite good. Have you looked at OM chart? Not for a while because I was in the pre-sale for that one years ago. So I probably like sold it all for 2/3 fuck all, and now it's worth like billions of dollars again. Yeah, thanks for traumatizing me. Yeah, I mean, again, really fucking strong. Really fucking strong. Do I want to jump on board this? Not right now. It looks pretty fucking illiquid. But, again, similar kind of just break the downtrend, get on board for a rotation, maybe stick that on spaghetti and go for that. Like, fucking MTL still going. That's gonna blast. A Giga? Nah, brother. No, because Joji DM'd me Giga back in like February. And he was like, get a bag of this is a cool meme. And I was like, I'm going to bed. And he was fucking down here, innit? I did not get any Giga. I did not want a free. It probably wasn't that much, was it? Yeah, it was. Cool. Cool. Yeah. I mean, it's just up only, mate. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, how do I chart this? You know, for me, it's like, if you're up massively, just fucking sell some. Take your profits. Don't run, but just start thinking about where you're gonna cash out. Like, we're in a lot of parabolas, and like parabolas are really interesting because it's you can draw them kind of however you like, right? There's no major kind of technical analysis school of parabolic bullshit. Yeah, there's just not. But you can see it structurally that actually if we start to consolidate up at the highs and you've been long since down here or whatever, you might want to start, you know, especially if you print that, you know, big high in a parabola, you know, run it up to here and then print a lower high. Like that for me is where I'm clearing quite a bit. And that's just me, that's my personal risk appetite or lack of. You know, it might then, you know, it's 500, 600 mil, whatever, it might just run again and again and again, but whatever. You know, at some point you need to take some profits. That would be my thought process on Giga. Who introduced you to spaghetti charts? I actually think it was Hasaka, but he did it in Excel. So he had like an Excel version of spaghetti, and I don't think he knew that you could do it on TradingView. And then when he did it, I was like, this makes the most sense ever, because I was always like flabbergasted that people would be like, well, I'm going to long OM next, right? And I'm gonna like every single fucking chart looks like this. Every single one of them all looks exactly the fucking same to me. And then people go, I'm long on OM next. And then suddenly it'd be the first fucker to break out. Now, obviously, there's chicken and egg, isn't there, in terms of like, did they pump it? Did they shill it? Or sorry, did it pump because they shilled it, right? But actually, if you go back or went back a lot in terms of like the relative strength on like spaghetti, actually that was a signal like down here that it was at the lows, but the move up, that move was really, really strong compared to the rest of the market, which is why they all got long in here and why they played that rotation. For a while, like it was like this was unbeatable. It was unbeatable. No one really used it. It was you know a few people, myself included, that used that to get on the next runners. And in strong market conditions, like some days we have really, really good market conditions, right? And like if we break out of Bitcoin all-time highs, I guarantee you I will make more money than some or a higher percentage return trading altcoins. You know, I could either start with $10,000, they could start with $10,000. If they are banned from using spaghetti and I'm allowed to use it, then I am pretty confident I would outperform them. Purely because I could find more trades using this method. Which accounts are the best accounts to follow, like Go or Ganon very early? I don't know, mate, because if I knew that, I would have caught them, right? Like I've got no idea. If you want low cap, like the problem with a lot of these like low cap gamble like accounts is you'll see them like it's just the gambler's fallacy, right? They just keep going, and they'll get one or two that's like an absolute banger, and that's it. They're either very consistent because they're part of the team, or they've got a massive influence in that particular area that they can, you know, push things to. But yeah, like I don't know anyone that's consistently great on-chain low caps. Like a lot of people lose money on them. I think that's the bit that, you know, everyone doesn't, or people don't really glamorize, which is fine. Like I like what's his name, Joji, but like, and he's good at it. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm definitely not trying to like, you know, slag these people off who are in the low cap space. Absolutely not. That's not my point. My point is that it's a really difficult space to operate in. And you know, what I like about Joji is he talks about his losses a lot as well. So he's not like you Yeah, it's at Metaverse Joji. Joji. He talks about his losses. He's like, I fucking aped in this. Actually, his last tweet is the chart of the last 4 coins I bought in the past 10 minutes. His average price is like literally the top tick, and then it goes to like 0. It's just like brilliant. You know, I like it when people talk about their losses and they don't just set themselves off for their wins. But yeah, he DM'd me Giga back in February or whenever it is. But yeah, if you wanted me to like recommend an on-chain low cap like quote unquote expert, I just couldn't kind of say, oh, it's this person that is consistently winning, because they just don't. Sorry for the trauma. That's all right, mate. I'm fine. I held like 3% of SHIB at one point, so can't help but suspect the Giga Chad is a powerful meme. With a good chance of being one of the big boys like Pepe. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it is a good meme. I think it's a really good meme. It's a good idea to get a chart of only the strong memes and see what's stronger. Yeah, why not? Like, that's kind of what this is, right? This is like the top memes, in terms of what's doing well. What do you think the play front run elections? If Trump wins Q1 Buller, then nuke Q2. If Kamala wins, short-lived pump and right into bear. I don't know. I don't actually think it's that binary. I think that we tend to choose something to focus on to justify like short time, lower and medium time frame price action. Whereas actually, I think there's a lot more factors at play than we can probably comprehend, and that's why I just prefer trying to look at charts and going, where am I bullish, where am I bearish? Because it just takes all the story and the narrative and the bullshit out of it, right? So everyone uses GigaChad? Yeah, they do, but I mean, people use a lot of memes, right? Like SpongeBob memes. They use loads of different memes. At least I do. I use tons of the fuckers. But yeah, I think saying that this is a meme that gets used a lot is like, yeah, there's lots of them. Yeah, does it have a good cult following? It actually does. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Murad's very strong on that. To be fair, I've been smashing memes called Nero and Frog Super Low. Yeah, and then he just bull posted them relentlessly. And like, what's it? Nero's up 500x or something like that, and Frog's up, I don't know, 20, 30x. Like, it's done really, really well. Market goes up with the Republicans and Democrats. That's kind of what I think. Thoughts on Retardio? Thesis is that once proper websites are forced to talk about it, that'd be really funny. Yeah. Yeah, ST's telegrams all low cap shitcoins, yeah. I know, well he puts a Bitcoin trade in there and a few other things as well, but you're right. Is it this one? This one? Or is there multiple? Oh, 3 mil of lick, so it's probably that one, isn't it? 82k volume? Fuck me. That is wild. For a 100 mil market cap coin. Okay, brothers. Have I ever been in leaderboards in sexes? No. I trade with $1. You think he's long whiff now? Let's have a look. Yeah, we talked about this. Evidently at last stream. You can see all my squiggles. Doesn't look good. Well, you saw my thought process. To be honest, I should have shorted it just to piss people off. Because last time I shorted it was up here. Again, the exact same thought process of that was like a parabolic move. That was a lower high, and I closed it down here. I think I held it through this, and then I closed it like there. Obviously, yeah, I could have held it down to like literally $1 and just like relentlessly bear posted like an absolute cunt. But you know, the way I look at every single trade is it's just one trade, right? And everyone thinks like, oh my god, like let's say I took this, which I didn't, but we talked about it last week. I'm guessing it was actually on this stream, yeah. Like people hate you if you're against the market, as in you're being bearish, and people also hate you shorting their coins, and everyone thinks that like even if I took this and it was up, whatever that is, like 14%, like I'm suddenly now going to just that's it. I've nailed it in one trade and game over. Like no, that doesn't happen to me anyway. And the way that I trade, like I'm never gonna turn $10,000 into 5 million in one trade. Is the likeliness of it, or 10 million or whatever. It's just not me. But it's just one trade, but people get very emotional, particularly in crypto for some reason. Whereas my attitude has always been, if you've got an opinion, just stick some money on it, fucking bet on it. Like, that's it. I still think Popcat is like literally just gagging to run. What's up with CHZ? Heavy funding negative 6 weeks. We're hedging on purpose, a spot bag probably. Do you have a diverse short-term portfolio, or are you mainly just trading? Yeah, I've got a really diverse sort of medium to long-term portfolio, to be blunt. I was going through that last week in the group, actually, in terms of like, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. And I realized I've got like 50 different coins, some just absolute dogshit meme coins, some like AI coins, some private sales that I was an investor in, hashtag disclosure, that I probably got a preferential rate for. Some of them are now gone to zero, some of them have rugged, just fucked off with the money. Some of them have launched and then gone to zero. Some of them have launched that stayed stable or given me a small or decent return on investment. So there's a whole mix and myriad of stuff in that basket. But yeah, I've got a lot of bags that I've just left, or I'm just holding because it's a million market cap, stuff like Filter and stuff. Like Filter's like the tiny market cap projects, like so I think it's like 1 mil, 2 mil, maybe something like that. Sage, again, AI project, 2 mil market cap or something. But these are all like low volume, low market cap, high risk. But if they kind of do something and we get an AI run, I own like between 0.5 and 5% of some of those projects. So it's a concentrated bet. If it goes and it runs to 10, 20, 30 million, 50 million, 100 million, something like that, it's going to be a fucking good payday. So, yeah, they are concentrated bets, if that makes sense, in the sense of they're a significant percentage of them. But I'm not really working too hard for my bags, to be honest. What was your entry like on Whiff when you shorted it? Just do your spaghetti for your entry. Not really, not really for shorting. It's more just pure price action. So if you're talking about like back here, it was just the fact that it was there was, let me replay it. There was, I believe, yeah, there was this divergence across the highs, right? So let me just turn that again. There was this hourly divergence going across these highs, which the reason that it was so nice is because you actually had like invalidation from both sides. Like, so what I mean by that is you had this, right? You had sweep of the highs, bosh, which failed and came back under. And then you had the breakdown of like this uptrend here. So the kind of confluence of actually that was it. A divergence playing out both on Awesome Oscillator and RSI, and like all of this in terms of like range high failure, a strong move, and then I think I jumped on like in here and averaged in, and that was it. That was the entry. I didn't preempt anything, right? I waited for a failure and jumped in. That was how I executed that one specifically. Oh, Retardio's 3 million volume? Oh yeah, I probably clicked the wrong link. Yeah, I don't know what this is. This is Met. What's that? Don't know. Yeah, I was a bit like, how the fuck can that have such low volume? Because like on Solana, it cost you like $100 to put 10 millivol on a coin, but yeah, just back and forth with $10. Thanks for sharing. That's all right, mate. You're welcome. Yeah, that's kind of why I do these streams. That's how I learned a lot of stuff from people like SC, XO, you know, free kind of public stuff, and then some paid stuff, and then just doing it. But obviously, learning is accelerated when you have people to share it with every day, and you're learning from people who do it like every day. Charlie, if a coin gets suddenly big volume in OI, does that mean this coin gets cartel play? Like, is it something how people move the coins like Pixel now happens? I can't find a reason. It can't be, mate. Like, you can get volume for loads of different reasons, right? It doesn't have to necessarily mean it's a cartel play. Like, to be honest with you, what tends to happen with cartel plays is the opposite. You get like accumulation in a range, right? And this is where people are filling their pockets up and they're actually accumulating this, and they're just um what's called, TWAPing in, so time weighted average price. So you'll execute $1,000 every minute or every 5 minutes or every hour or whatever it might be, and you're slowly buying and gradually buying. And then if it starts getting to the highs, you start selling, right? Because you want to keep it, you want to keep prices suppressed in this range and accumulate and make sure you're a big holder. This is what they did on TRB, and then eventually you break it out and you start like just buying much faster, much harder, much more volume. And when you do that, yeah, that's kind of when it goes in play. But like, yeah, there's no real way to catch these, I don't think, apart from just marking up charts, looking at that, setting an alert up here, and if you've got an accumulation range on a chart, then you're waiting for the breakout. Oh, my computer around gets cooked with spaghetti. Yeah, you do need a decent computer for it, unfortunately. Hi Charlie, would you recommend a one-on-one mentorship or joining a paid Discord group? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I do run the Paragon with Magus Doc and myself. But I don't know, because I can't honestly give you an answer to that, because I haven't done both of those things. I haven't done the like one-on-one mentorship with somebody where they go through all my trades and they go through this, that, and the other. You give them API access and all that kind of stuff. Like, what worked for me was more like videos, was doing it, was reviewing it, and was being part of a community that actually, wanted me to learn for a little bit. And then, like, after a couple of months, I took all that and I went and did it all by myself. And I went and just relentlessly and autistically built my system, reviewed it, carried on, and kept going. But everybody's different. Some people learn best by themselves. Some people learn best in a group. I personally think that you, if you want to accelerate your learning, then groups are good. If you think I'm going to join a group and become a trading guru overnight and instantly retire my bloodline, you're going to be bitterly disappointed. Particularly because, like, I think the whole point of joining groups in general is that you just accelerate your learning. You find somebody who trades in a style that you like and that makes sense to you, and then if you want to trade like them, well, you know, go listen to what they've got to say for a couple of weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, like, is it worth that cost and that chance? I don't know. It's a tough question to answer, but if I put it back to something else, would you try and be a surgeon or something without reading and learning something? And I'm not saying that trading is the same as like performing surgery. Obviously, I'm not. But what I am trying to say is that I think it's a skill set. And I think it can be taught and it can be learned and it is easier to do in a community. But I'm not saying, you know, jump in the bargain with your last elements of your life savings. But I am saying don't rule out the usefulness of paid groups and all that kind of stuff. Though they do get a general bad reputation, and it's fair for some of them. You know, I think some of them probably are not particularly wonderful, but you know, with no specific groups or anything in mind with that comment. I'm sure there are just some dogshit ones out there, but I actually think, in terms of the space, I don't think the space has ever been so good in terms of the amount of educational content that's out there, either for free or as part of groups. So, being in a Discord group is more motivational than CT. Yeah, I have to say the same. Like, CT has become a shit show of just, you know, drama fest really these days. It's not particularly entertaining. Hey, aren't you that guy? That guy who made 100,000x on Shiba? Nah. Did you chart fat? No, I didn't, mate. What are your numbers on MACD setting that? It's an awesome oscillator, mate. That's why you're probably not getting the same ones. Do you think corn can bottom here? We can do whatever it likes, is the honest answer. Of course it can bottom here. It can also not bottom. Let's have a peep at corn in terms of intraday, and then we'll go. I think the arena is calling me. Yeah, 100%. Like, that looks pretty good in terms of like this little run up, right? Like this, up, run it up. Not only because I'm long, but because, you know, I want the next leg of the market to be good. You know, I'm just looking at like this. I think we start breaking out. We've had a couple of goes at it. Yeah, fucking send it, boys. Gig along. Not financial advice. Blah, blah, blah. Let's go. Straight to all-time highs. No fucking pussies. I'm joking, but obviously if that works out, I'm fucking claiming clout. So yeah, I do think it looks pretty good. Market long to 100x? Nah, perfect, mate. Hope you don't get rugged, brother. But if you do, you know. Yeah, it looks good. So, wonderful people. I think that's it for me tonight. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for support. Best traders I know use no indicators, nothing. Are they all LARPers like GCR, High Stakes Capital, and so on? Like, no, not at all. Why would they be LARPers? Because they don't use indicators. Like, but why would you be a LARPer just because you do use indicators? Like, an indicator typically is just a different reflection of price action anyway, right? So that's all like Awesome Oscillator and RSI are. But in terms of like those traders that you mentioned, like both of those people make very high time frame, high conviction bets, and that's how they play the market, right? Like what I'm doing is massively different to that. I'm playing intraday rotations on low time frames because I don't have huge, massive conviction in the next 3, 6, 12 months in either direction, right? If you said to me, what's the price of Bitcoin going to be in a year or 2 years' time? I don't know. But, you know, GCR was always very good at saying, like, this is the bottom, we're going to see a big ETH rotation, we're going to see a big SOL rotation, whatever, and he absolutely nailed it, you know. Best narrative trader I've seen on CT. Yeah, thanks all for the love and support, and I will see you again next week for next week's stream. Au revoir.